Welcome to Miniature Reenactments, everyone! Today we continue the series of videos based on three of Alexander the Great's most famous battles against the Persian Empire. Today's battle is the Battle of Issus. After defeating the Persian army at Granicus, Alexander moved his army south, searching for the main force, led by the ruler of the Persian Empire, Darius III. The Persian army was meanwhile moving north, searching for Alexander. Due to the rocky terrain, both armies passed by each other without seeing one another. Darius came upon the Macedonian camp and murdered all the wounded there. Then, realizing he passed Alexander, he turned his army around and started heading south, searching for his army. Alexander's scouts reported spotting Darius's army to the north, so he turned around and headed toward them. They found each other at last in a narrow corridor between the Gulf of Issus and the mountains. This made for a narrow battlefield in which to fight. The initial Macedonian deployment involved phalanx in the center, with Hypaspes to the right, and companion cavalry with Alexander riding among them on the flank. On the left, they had a mix of heavy and light Macedonian cavalry. In reserve was an infantry unit, which was unusual for Alexander, for this was not a strategy he typically used. Far to the right, in among the mountains and the hills, Alexander placed his Agranians, his elite javelin skirmishers. The Persians had multiple lines of infantry, with skirmishers in the front and cavalry guarding the flanks. Darius also places heavy infantry in the rocky hills overlooking the battlefield, apparently hoping he'd be able to use them to hit his enemy in the flank if the Macedonians advanced. The Macedonians did advance, but not without protecting their flank. Alexander personally led an attack onto the hill with his Agranians and his companion cavalry. They managed to drive off the heavy infantry, and the rest of the Macedonian cavalry on that flank drove off the Persian cavalry. On the opposite flank, the Persian heavy cavalry, which was actually Greek cavalry, did better, pushing back the weaker Macedonian cavalry. But Alexander seemed to have prepared for this, as that seemingly out-of-place infantry now came into play, setting up a defensive line against the possible breakthrough. This partial Persian victory also worked to the advantage of the Macedonians, as the Persian line advanced, placing their left flank in the air and ripe for attack. The Agranians continued to pursue the heavy infantry, while the cavalry turned on the flank of the infantry, riding down every line the Persians had. Alexander spotted Darius and charged headlong toward him. Spotting this, Darius fled the field in full view of many of his men, who panicked and followed after. The Persian right flank did not see this, as they had been pressing hard on the Macedonian left. Alexander now enveloped this flank, surrounding the Greek cavalry, and finishing off the last of the Persian resistance on the battlefield. The Macedonians chased the fleeing Persians, getting revenge for the slaughter they had inflicted on their camps, and leaving a long line of dead along the shore. And that was the Battle of Issus. Next we'll take a look at the third and final battle of this campaign, the Battle of Dogmilla. Thank you all for watching, and be sure to subscribe to see more of our miniature reenactments.